Welcome to Weird Web Radio, an explorer's guide to hidden worlds of the paranormal and occult, reality-expanding experiences, and the downright weird and bizarre. With your host, Lonnie Scott.
We are recording. Jason Miller, welcome back to Weird Web Radio.
Hey, thanks for having me, Lonnie.
You're welcome. You say you and Aiden, John Beckett, Morgan Daimler. Who else is a regular? Matt Oren. It's almost like I require having you folks on here at least once a year.
Well, and we love it. We love to come on. You're one of the best.
Oh, I deeply appreciate that.
If not the best.
Well, I'll take that.
I try not to say anyone's the best. But,
Dara Mason calls me the OG of podcasting, and I'm like, what do you mean? And then I realized I've been at it for 10 years now.
Yeah. Not wrong. Not wrong.
So let's see here. You have a new cycle of strategic sorcery. That's always available, right?
It is. Old, reliable. It's
that is not a cycle. That is always available, and it is an awesome course. I'm sure I've told you this before, but just to remind people, I took the Strategic Sorcery course. It's the first course I took with you. Oh man, a long time ago, before I even started this podcast, it was Fiona Benjamin, former tarot reader and stuff.
Yeah,
that I met at a tarot conference in 2014. That I think that's who talked me into it, if I hadn't been in it already. But at any rate, I've had that material for well over a decade now, and I return to it again and again and again.
Oh, well, thank you.
I mean, I get in that material several times a year. So it rewards over and over and over again.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. So we are actually just completing what's called like a deep dive that I do every few years, where I run the course, like I run a special version of that course with Q&As, so that people sign up and it has a start date, and they get 2 lessons 1 week, along with audio commentary on those lessons, and then a Q&A. But so it gives me a chance to go over it. And this is the second time we did the deep dive. It's about to finish up. And man, it's like 15 years old now, right? Mm-hmm. It's like 14, 15 years old. And there's so many things that I'm like, I should just re-record. Like, I should just start this all over. Like, there are so many things. Like, this is outdated. I've covered this better elsewhere. This is all me examining my younger self. And, I no longer even think this is valid. So, I mean, I definitely, I think it's good. I stand by it. Don't get me wrong. But, I love that people get a lot out of it. But I definitely am like, one day I may just like completely replace it and take the old version and just have it there for download for people. It's like, see what the old version was like. But
yeah, hey, no, that's cool. I mean, I got a ton of value out of it. I wonder, not that I have the notes with me to do it, but I just wonder if one of the things you're like, oh, I should take that out, is something that I go back to and I'm like, God, I'm so glad it's there.
Some of the financial sorcery lessons are a little dated.
And
they're a little too non-magical. I'm always pressing people to have something to apply their magic to, but those are a little too veer the other way. And there's just a few others that I was like I wouldn't do the mastermind group lesson again. And, having then written a book on sex magic, I don't know that the sex magic lesson was as good as it could have been. So there are things, but I think every author feels that way about their work. Like, their earlier work.
None of those are what I go back to.
But no, it's Sorcery of Hekate that's starting up a new cycle on on Halloween.
On Halloween. So
I've got a
today,
double release Halloween.
today is what we are recording this October 23rd. And if you're listening to this before Halloween of 2025, that is the upcoming cycle for the Sorcery of Hekate. And as someone who has taken all the Sorcery of Hekate courses, I can tell you it is well worth the time and the investment. It's a closed practice. It is unique entirely in its approach, and I think you'll get a lot out of it. I know I did.
Well, thank you.
Still do. Hey, I'm looking over it like I forget his name, but someone on YouTube does a little like 3 to 5 minute episodes each time of my favorite magical thing or my magical thing. It's something like that.
Julian Vane.
Yes.
Yeah.
Never invited me. Never. And I'm
Gotta
telling you, if he ever does, it's right there. It is my my mandala, my beads and key from
Oh my God,
from Sorcery of Hekate 1.
I would be so honored.
That is one of my favorite, like, because I know you promote the course and you let on to people like you're going to be saying "Io Heka Io Ho" 100 times a day, right?
Yep.
And
Forever.
And I know along the way over the years, people, and you included, have let on, this is like, you're going to get it. It's not what you're expecting, but I'm telling you that the day you get to the beads and the key part, I did that. It was like a February, if I remember. It was fucking cold, and it was a full moon, and it was during the COVID lockdown. So I did this in 2020. It was like 2:30 in the morning. 2:30 in the morning. And I was out running around town doing all the things I have to do.
Oh, that's so awesome. You did it all at once. That's great.
Yes. I had to go to one other town to finish, but I'm not giving anything away other than there will be a police station involved. Yeah. And it was dead quiet.
Yep.
This is during the COVID era.
Yep.
Dead quiet. And I'm in a hoodie. It's 20 degrees outside. I've got my hood up and I'm backing towards the door of the police station. And when about the time I get there to do what I'm supposed to do, I look and there's a cop in a cruiser, like an SUV, just watching me. Like, what's this meth head doing? Nothing happened. He didn't chase me, but
so you're way better and witchier than I am, man. When I did it, it was like 2 p.m. And I just I had the key palmed in my hand. I went up. You touch it to locks, locks of this place, of that place. And you just go up, and I touched it to the lock, and I went in, and I asked about parking on my street, and then I left. I was like, this is. But yeah, there are definitely people who are like, what do I say if I get caught? And I'm like, touching a doorknob isn't illegal.
That's right. That's right. But people do this. Witches that work some Christian magic, they get the same way about holy water too. With for the Cyprian stuff, I'm like, go into a church, get some holy water. And they're like, what do I say? How do I do it? What if they catch me? And I'm like, okay, man, the holy water, it's in a font and it's there for you to take. It is literally sometimes you can go to the gift shop, buy a little bottle for $2, squeeze it, fill it up. It's not a big deal. I'm like, well, what if they ask if I don't go to the church? I'm like, say it's for your grandma.
Like, Grandma wants some holy water. I figured I'd swing by and get it. No, I'm not coming to church, but
Yeah.
thank you though.
No, I really like that part a lot because I mean, one, it's physical and it's a material thing. It's something you're going to make, and two, like I use keys in a lot of my practice with, just a lot of my keys, coins, like they're a big part of a lot of stuff that I do.
Potent symbolism,
but keys in particular, I use in association with some of my paranormal work, my sorcery and the paranormal. And the way you had us doing that in the Sorcery of Hekate added this element of excitement and adventure to it, especially the way I decided to do it.
I would say, yeah.
And that it also, like, all the years I've been practicing in various ways, the things that I do, it wasn't until that particular lesson that I decided that I needed to insert more adventure into the things I do anyway. So it had a profound effect on a lot of things, not just that. So that is my favorite magical thing.
Get out of the house, make a magical map of your area, and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's funny because one of the things that I really enjoy about teaching Sorcery of Hekate is that I get to drag people towards the middle. So, and what I mean by that is that there are some people, magic for them it's in their head. Like they're sitting there and they're in their mind. It's like, well, do I have to say this? Can't I just think it? Do I have to have this? Can't I just visualize it? Do I have to make an offering? Can't I just pretend? And, sure, there's psychic element to this. So there's a mind element to this. And I'm like, nope, you gotta say it. Like, you gotta actually make your vocal cords go. You gotta actually have the thing, the physical thing. You gotta go out and do things in the world in which you live. You gotta really work that. But then there's other people, and magic for them is like sacred arts and crafts. It's like, give me the candle, give me the oil, give me the prayer to say, give me the day and the time to do it, and I'm golden. As long as I don't have to visualize or, meditate or, try to, work with energy or anything like that. Just give me the folk magic, put the oil, light the candle, ring the bell 3 times, that kind of thing. And so I pull each of them. I'm like, you guys, you head people, over into the physical. You physical people into the head. Like, you gotta have both.
Yes,
you gotta have both.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I am curious because I've seen more discussion of aphantasia. I believe I said that right.
Yep.
People who cannot visualize, right? And I've seen a lot of talk about this lately. In fact, Aiden Wachter on his Patreon has been teaching a course for people how to experience trance in different ways who also have aphantasia, which and he is very open about having, that be a challenge that he found many ways to overcome. I guess my question would be, thinking about those folks, is Sorcery of Hekate something for them too?
Yes. So, you talk to the folks who have a aphantasia and who really have it, first of all.
Right.
Because you and I both know that if there's a thing that 1% of the population authentically has, in the pagan world, there's going to be another 10% that claims to have, and they can't do something because of this. And I'm not a doctor. I don't sit and evaluate people whether they really have it or not, but I'm just really like, if you really have this, like if you really can't visualize, but then, we get other people and they're like, I have aphantasia or aphantasia because I have trouble visualizing this thing, whereas I can visualize pentagrams. I'm like, then you don't have aphantasia.
Right.
Like that's not it. You just need to actually like practice and do the work, right? Like you're finding it difficult, not something that you have a disability for. But there are people who have a disability for it and whose minds just simply don't visualize. So, the first thing I will say is like grab an image of Hekate to put on your altar. It doesn't have to be a statue, it could be a picture, something like that. And spend a little time going over the image tactily. Not with your physical fingers, but imagine that you could touch it, feel it. If it was breathing, how would that feel, right? And then you can go into this and you can actually sense Hekate's presence, right? Because you know what she looks like now. You have this image on the altar, and you have this mental sensation that isn't visual. And we've had a lot of people that have tremendous success with that. Who will then even say, and then there's a smell that arises, a taste, people that will say, and I surprise myself that there's a taste that arises when I do this, when we make the invocation, which blends the actual presence with the visualization, right? So people then are like, oh, I can actually sense that presence at that time. Because I'm still mentally invested in building up Hekate's presence, even if it's not visualized. So yeah, we've had some amazingly successful students with aphantasia, and yeah, I mean there is a good bit of magic that is visualization based. For sure, but there are always ways around it.
Sure. Yeah. And
yeah,
that's why I was wondering.
Yeah. And that's what our Q&As are for too.
Right.
It's, when it comes up as a question in the Q&A, that's where I kind of give what I just talked about now. So yeah,
and very specific guidance to the questioner as well, which is that's one of the greatest things about your courses is that it's all of them I've taken except for the Strategic Sorcery course, which is all by email. It's that Q&A between the lessons, to be able to ask questions on the lesson you just got, and then you deliver audio, specific to those questions. I think it's fantastic.
That's what made it a full-time job. Like,
I can imagine.
That's what made it a full-time job, to run several courses where we've got that amount of Q&A. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, how often are you going to run cycles of Sorcery of Hekate annually that you foresee for the near future?
I'm going to go back to 2 cycles.
Okay.
I tried last year as an experiment. I tried 4 cycles. And it worked out. Actually, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should just stick with it because it did work out all right. Mm-hmm. It made the Q&As a little bit shorter because, as you know, sometimes the Q&As got ridiculously long.
Yes, they do.
But then, we also run into sort of mid-course towards end of course where there are not a lot of questions at all. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, am I cheating people out of something? Like this Q&A was like 20 minutes long. But it is what it is. I can only answer the questions that are given. And it becomes a lot to manage having 4 cycles a year of that course, because then they're overlapping, because the course is 7 months.
Right.
So I'm going to try to go back to just 2 cycles. One starting on Halloween in the fall, and another one starting in late spring. And we'll see how that goes. But I reserve the right to change my mind and suddenly decide in February, you know what? No, we got to do another cycle. Because what happens is people will contact me. It used to be, I don't know what's changed about the internet. I used to be able to reach out to people and just be like, this is when it's starting. And everybody that I would reach would be like, yeah, okay, we're on. And now it's just kind of like, hey, I saw this thing that you've had out there for a month, but I just saw it. And now the class is, or, you put this out there 3 months ago and the class is halfway over. Can I still join? And, after the first few weeks, it's like, it's a little late to join. Like,
yeah.
So that's why I started to do 4 cycles. But, so we'll see if people are still like, I want to join, but I'm 3 months in and 4 months away from the next, then maybe I'll run another cycle. We'll see. But for now, the plan is 2 cycles a year.
It's something that will live for quite a while. You have no plan to end this course anytime soon.
Nope. No plan to end the course for at least another 10 years.
Oh, well, there you have it, folks. But hurry and sign up before Halloween.
Yeah. So, yeah, for at least another 10 years, I would wager before I think about retirement.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I will figure out what happens next.
Go retreat to the tower on the mountain.
Yeah.
No, I think you're more of a go back to the Pine Barrens and become the new folklore of the place.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I think maybe I'm the retire to a 55 and over community and go to Hawaii with my wife kind of.
Do that then.
I am exceptionally ordinary, and other than my occult interests, I am exceptionally ordinary. I'm not terribly counterculture or anything like that. I'm
Yeah, Jason Miller poops. You've heard it here first.
Jason Miller poops. Just wife, kids, normal family life, that kind of thing.
Love it. You also have a new thing you've cooked up. Is it the first 30 days of Magick? Is that what we're calling it?
Your first 30 days.
My first 30 were a long time ago, sir.
I'll have to change it then, because it says Lonnie's first 30 days. No, it's your first 30 days of Magick.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this idea, 2 years ago. I had this idea. Wouldn't it be great if there was a course, first of all, that was inexpensive for a course? So, because that's number one when you're just starting out. And number two, that you just got it in these really bite-size today, the next day. So, and just to help people kind of get rolling with practice, what's important, help them figure out what's signal, what's noise. And so I had this idea for your first 30 days of Magick. An email every day for 30 days. Every email is around 1,000 words, unless it has a big table of correspondence, or it has at one point I'm talking banishing ritual, and I'm like, well, here's the LBRP, but here's also a Hecatean banishing, and obviously I'm not going to just cut off at 1,000 words. So that's longer. But it's real bite-sized. It's real, like, it is really geared towards, like, here's the stuff, but here's the stuff in a way that you'll actually remember rather than have to reference back all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm going to teach this to you in a way that you should be able to remember it. And I'm going to get you moving on stuff without need of buying anything else. Or at least not buying anything specifically occult, right?
Okay.
And so, with the exception, I do have a half lesson on tarot cards. I talk about playing cards, and then I talk about tarot because it's just the most common form of divination. So, and I love tarot. So, I give my, like, throw your white book away. You can learn this in one sitting. Like, you can learn in a way that you can remember what every card is. You can do this right now, today, and never look at a little white book that comes with your deck ever again, unless you want to.
Yep.
So there's, it's that kind of thing. I really tried to put myself back into my 15-year-old head.
Oh boy.
Boy. What did I find helpful? Because I was lucky enough to have some people that put their hand on my shoulder and pointed out, like, this is good, that's crap. This person's good, but also crap in other ways, which is most everything. I've had so many people in, say, Sorcery of Hekate, and they get in and then they're like, well, what do you mean by cast a spell? Like, these are the opportunities to sow some spell work in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, candle spells, mojo bags, chords, separation, burn some incense, petitions. And they're like, nope, never heard it. And
none of it.
I'm like, okay, well, and up until lately, my answer has always been like, well, get a copy of Judica Ill's 5,000 spells, and then you've got 5,000 spells. Or, Hoodoo Urban Root Magic by Cat Ironwood. It's just arranged wonderfully by herb or curio, and each one has like a little list of spells underneath that you could easily build up a whole ritual around. But there was more than that. So it made me think, Strategic Sorcery is a year-long commitment. And really, you should have read Real Sorcery before taking Strategic Sorcery, or what used to be called the Sorcerer's Secrets.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, let me make something to grab somebody as if they just took an interest in magic that afternoon and somehow found me, which is extremely unlikely. But, I wanted to write it from that perspective. So that's it. It's so weird now because, I write things that are either, some people find them advanced, other people don't, but some people certainly don't find them beginner. And then I write things that are specialist, right? Like, I focus in on specialties that other people aren't focusing in on. So this is very different because I'm sort of like, okay, I got to talk about the elements, but I'm not doing it in the way that everybody else has talked about the elements, but I still have to cover that stuff because that's important in your first 30 days of Magic. So yeah, the first lesson is about salt, just salt. So you need some salt to get started.
It's not a bad thing to have.
No.
I'm just thinking back, my first 30 days of Magic, because my first introduction to any of this was DJ Conway's book Celtic Magic, and
which we all know is the most historically accurate.
Yeah, do not recommend. But it did get me started. But still, oh my god, I think of all the crazy shit. One of the first things I did, I got another book. I can't remember the name of it. Christopher Orapello found it and told me what it was based on the description, but it was this dreadful little paperback. Anyway, I got the idea how to do a curse in there, and I did one, and it definitely worked, and I've been hooked on this shit ever since. But we got the bright idea. Me and a little group of friends who were like, this stuff works.
Yep. Yeah.
All of us 15 years old, maybe 14. We're looking at Uncle Bucky's Big Blue Book of Wicca, right?
Sure.
And it's like, you got to make all your own tools. We're resourceful Midwestern kids. We have BB guns. We have BBs. Let's melt BBs. And we did. We melted BBs to make like the pentacle that goes on the altar. We stole a wine glass from somebody's mom. We were resourceful. We didn't have anybody teaching us.
Yep. My dad owned the hardware store, so I was there like in the basement of the hardware store making my rainbow wand for modern magic, and trying to magnetize the bottom of a coat hanger to to put it in the middle of my fire wand. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. So there's going to be like first 30 days of Magic isn't even like at that make these tools part. Like that comes after your first 30 days.
Yeah, I can think of a whole lot that would benefit you more than doing that crazy shit.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you'll get a story. You might get lead poisoning. I don't know. I mean, in that same little group, one of them is now a grown-ass man who's a preacher, former witch, and I say that in quotation marks, who preaches of the demonic forces corrupting children through witchcraft and such. But he was one of my little experimental groups when we were real young. We read about astral travel and all of that. And we would take turns going into a bedroom, and then whoever was in the kitchen, we would take out a tarot card. It was a Thoth deck that we found again that one of our moms had. It wasn't mine. So we took it. And we never saw her with it. Yep. And now I think about it, we were some pretty pilfering teenage kids. And we would try to like astral project from the bedroom to see what the card was.
Yep.
I was terrible at it. Terrible. I couldn't even guess 1 out of 10. The guy that ended up the preacher preaching about the evils of the demons was nearly 10 out of 10. He was so good, it was scary. And now that I think about it, it might be why he ended up the way he is. He got scared.
That happens.
That man had a gift. Probably still does.
People get bit on the ass by something they didn't quite believe in, and they will go running.
Yeah.
And I mean, that same gift that would allow him to see spirits is also allowing him to see some of the spiritual underpinnings of whatever brand of Christianity he's in.
Probably.
I mean, I've been, because I would love it if only the churches and places that I was morally aligned with had, access to magic, but 'tis not so. I have seen really like awful, terrible evangelicals with horrible, regressive views that I find repugnant do really powerful magic. They don't call it that, but it's what it is. You know, it's what it is. So
yes, it is.
Yeah.
First 30 days. Your first 30 days of magic.
Your first 30 days
starts also on Halloween.
It does. So this will be. There's no Q&A element here. It's just. But anyone who joins before Halloween will get to submit questions, and then I will answer at the end of the first 30 days. So November 1st or 2nd or 3rd or whatever. No, sorry. December 1st or 2nd or 3rd or whatever, I will do a Q&A for those people that joined early. But from that point on, it'll just be up. Anyone at any time can sign up, $50, and they'll get an email and start their first 50 days of magic. And
I love it. Yeah.
That's it.
Now, can some middle-aged, I think I've done it all kind of, can we get in there too? Would it benefit one of us?
Yeah, no. So I have said that this is, I don't actually expect people to get it on their, like, to grab the student on their first day. But, I think I said, if you happen to be starting out, that's great. If you have been at it for a while and you're starting to get overwhelmed, which I think is what happens to people now. Whereas you had to go steal your mom's Thoth deck, and I had to go, return things late to the library and scour whatever I could grab from Walden Books and meet the 3 other people in my geographic area that might not think that this is evil. And, where we had a dearth of resources, people now are over-resourced. They are they take an interest in, all of a sudden the world is at their feet and begging for their attention, and they have 1,000 voices telling them really bad advice sometimes, really good advice sometimes, but they don't have their bearings, so they can't even tell who's who is a David Rankine or an Aiden Watcher, and who is some toxic edgelord who just haunts the internet, right? To feel like he's a powerful, like, you can't tell immediately. It takes a little while.
That is true.
And so first 30 days, like, if people are like overwhelmed, I think this will help separate signal from noise. And then if people have been at it for years and years, but they want to kind of, either as a thought experiment, to just say, what is someone else's view as to what are the fundamentals? Because I've done that before, and I always learn something new when I'm looking at
Bruce
someone
Lee,
else's
baby.
complete
Empty your cup.
fundamentals. Yeah. And or if people want to do it as more of a thought experiment and really take 30 days and set what they're doing aside, and, like, hey, let's start over. Let's clear the table and start fresh. Which is a healthy and kind of really cool and refreshing thing to do. I've done it a couple times in my career. I literally put everything I have away and set up like just a clean altar with like 2 candles and a scrying mirror, and that's it. No symbolism, no nothing. I just pretend no one has ever heard of magic until this moment.
Yeah.
And then what would my practice look like? So this isn't quite that bare. This is, instructional. But if people want to kind of get a little reboot, this would be great. you know,
Exactly.
and there's always going to be, I think my fear is that people will get to the end of a lesson and say, but he didn't cover this and that and this and that and this and that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, because it's somebody's first 30 days.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you think about the planets and all the things that are associated with the planets. I could write a book just about the planets. Obviously, I'm not going to cover that if I'm talking about planets for 1 or 2 days. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, just want to give people, here are the planets, here's the basics, here's how you and here's how you do something right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, without any other kit, here's how you do something right off the bat. Like, these are the basics, and here's how you do it. This is the stream. This is how you play in it.
It's a great idea.
So
I hope this goes great. Because I ask a lot of like first time guests. I've even asked you before on the show, you know, like if somebody was brand new, what advice would you give them, or what would you tell them to avoid, you know, that kind of thing. And this is a much more strategic approach. Imagine that from Jason Miller, a strategic approach.
You know,
question.
It's good to kind of keep having new introductory material out there. I can't remember. Was it the Sigil Witch?
Tempest, Laura
Yes.
Tempest Sakharov.
Yes, yeah.
Fucking love.
Yeah.
Tempest's work. Tempest is amazing.
She's amazing. And she wrote something the other day, and I think it was maybe a throwaway post, but it was like not a throwaway post, but just a, you know, this is on my mind, I'm going to throw it out there.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just maybe stop recommending the same books that you started with to people who are starting now.
Oh God, I would never.
Hey, well, see, and that's the thing. Like, I try not to, but there's like a nostalgia to it, right? Like,
no, there isn't.
Well, you know, like, okay, so for the classic example, it is Mastering Witchcraft, right? Like, so there's a ton of people that started with Mastering Witchcraft as one of their first few books.
You know what's funny about that book? I just read it for the first time this week.
Really?
Yeah.
This
week. It popped up in something, and I was just like, I've never read that fucking book. So I did. And it turns out I've read that book, but I didn't read that book. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You're at it long enough. You read enough shit. You do enough stuff.
Right.
You know what's in there.
Well, I mean, there. I think, you know, there. I once referred to. I once referred to like, I am amongst the children of Paul Hewson. Like, people that were so influenced by his take on that. But, you know, there are aspects of that book that are very 70s. And that are, you know, that are very 70s. There's aspects of that book that are you know, probably a little outdated. And like, I don't know that it would be like a good first book or even first 5 book for somebody. These
fair. Days. Yeah, that's very fair.
You know, and I mean, God knows there were so many other books that they were all I had access to, and we made great stuff out of them. Mm-hmm. But there's so many other books now that are wonderful. And so Sarah Mastros has an introductory to witchcraft book. I didn't know this when I started preparing to launch this. Otherwise, I might have separated it out a little bit. But, you know, she's like just launched that. And I have read it, and it's great. But I didn't know she's launching it right now.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's great. And it's great to have these different takes on it. I think about Chowan Ku's Spellbound is another great beginner book.
I've not seen that one.
So yeah, amazing art, but also just a really solid book. There's some things in there where I'm like, yeah, But that's the way I am with everything. So, and I'm sure that's how how many people are going to be with first 30 days or anything.
Yeah. No, my first one was that DJ Conway, and then some random shit I couldn't get my hands on, and then there was a couple of Enochian books I got into because I thought the art was cool on the cover. The Satanic Bible,
Sure.
The Necronomicon, all that evil right there in a $5.99 paperback from Avon. Buckland's books, Scott Cunningham's stuff. Not one of those things would I recommend to someone. It wasn't until I was 17 that I got Lieber Nolan Psychonaut and then Futhark by Edward Thorson that really gave me definitive things that did have enormous influence on me. One told me that runes could be magic, and I took it and ran with it because the other book told me that belief and sigils and all of that was awesome. And I even recently learned I give way too much credit to Pete Carroll and Lieber Knoll for my development into what I use the most. Because it was about 6 or 7 months ago, I reread Visual Magic by Jan Fries.
Jan Fries, yeah.
And realized, I never recommend that book. Shame on me. 2, that book had huge influence on what I do, and I didn't even remember it right. Huge influence.
It's a great book. It's a great book. Yeah, I had a lot of similar starting out books. The Necronomicon. I was lucky that I also had the Necronomicon spell book.
Same. I got it. You should have seen the look on that lady's face at Walden Books when we were ordering this shit.
I had my copy of the Necronomicon, which was this, magnificent and overly complicated book. And then this other book is like, okay, now forget all that. Just stare at this sigil, say a few lines in Sumerian, and you're good to go. So I did spells from that all the time. I loved it. The complete book of magic and witchcraft, which I actually have like 2 copies of.
That might be the book that gave me the idea for a curse.
Yeah, I was thinking it might be.
Does it have a weird little like pentagram on the cover?
Yeah,
kind of a brownish cover.
Hey, hang on a sec. I'll see if I can spot it real quick.
And for people listening, Jason is sitting in front of a ginormous wall of books. And over his shoulder is what I suspect is a real skull. I don't know.
You suspect what?
Is that a real skull?
Oh, yeah, it is. It is. So this is the copy that I first...
That's it! That's the one!
And then just like 10 years ago, I inherited this.
Oh,
which
boy.
is the same book, just an older...
Never saw that one.
Older
the first one you showed me, that's the one I had.
Yeah.
That one, yes.
But you know what was great about this book? Is it has in it some of the instructions from the Grimoire Verum, right? So apart from like give women cheese and they'll fall in love with you, which is if you've seen that meme, like
I have.
give women cheddar and they'll fall in love with you, and this is actually the book it comes from. But apart from that, there's this little section where she lays out the basics of the Grimoire Verum. Now, obviously, it's not Jake Stratton Kent, but you have the particular calls for Lucifer, Astaroth, and Beelzebub in there, which give me that. Give me some Golden Dawn knowledge from Don Craig, and you're cooking up some, you're cooking.
Yeah.
Give me some basic Necronomicon stuff and you're cooking. God, some of the worst books. Al Manning. Helping Yourself with White Witchcraft.
Didn't get that one.
By Al Manning. He also had a book called Helping Yourself with Psychocosmic Power.
That sounds great.
Which is awesome because in the the table of contents throughout the book, he's abbreviating psychocosmic power. So as you're opening the book and you're reading like how to win people over with PCP, how to destroy your enemies with PCP, and it's great. I have a copy here somewhere, but
oh my god, I love it.
yeah.
So bad it's good.
It's so bad it's good. And yeah, there are so many books though. They had it's not that they were great books, but they sparked something in us.
Yeah,
that
I'll give
we
them credit
then
for
had
that.
to do. I upset some folks yesterday when I said, papyri magicians are like the script kiddies.
I saw that. I don't get it. I don't get the joke. I never read the PGM.
So the script kiddie, for those that don't know, are hackers or programmers that take someone else's script that they couldn't themselves make. And then they use it and they build upon it and they do things with it. Maybe what they were meant for, maybe not what they were meant for. Another way to look at it would be like a cargo cult, right? Like back in the days when cargo would float up onto these islands and indigenous people would find all this Western stuff, they would put it to use, right? Even though they didn't necessarily know how to use everything.
Right.
And so, I said we're all like this with the Greek magical papyri, with Enochian magic, with with even the keys of Solomon, with nobody knows exactly why each of the lines in those pentagrams or pentacles is the way it is. I mean, some of them it's obvious, like it's a face of Moses and the outer rim refers to Moses, so you get it. But some of them where it's more like Icelandic staves, it's like, no. And for that matter, people that use Icelandic staves, we don't know. Like and yes, and there are smart people who are working on this for sure. But people are like, well, hey, I study this, and I'm not saying you don't. I'm just saying, but we still don't know. Like, part of being educated about something is knowing what you don't know. And a good part of magic is using some things where you don't necessarily have A to Z instructions. You're winging it. And that's what you did it with Conway. I did it with with other things. We both did it with Catherine Paulson, Magic and Witchcraft. And that is something that people today, they're encountering too much information. So they don't get like a little bit and think, well, I feel this calling, so I better do something with this. Instead, it's like, well, I feel this calling, but I don't know everything yet. Let me keep learning. And then they'll get on a group and say, well, I'm going to do something. And somebody invariably will be like, you can't do that. It is a closed practice and you cannot do that. Whether it is or it isn't a closed practice, there'd be people telling you it is, like everything from tarot to voodoo to everything else. And
right.
And people will then, just kind of jump on and, but you need to do this first and that first. And, somebody else will say, no, if you do that, you'll die. There's so much like fear mongering. And so we have this like overabundance of information.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I had a Walden Books in 1993 in a town in East Central Illinois with a population roughly around 17,000 people.
I love that there's so much better information, right?
I do too. Yeah.
Like
far better.
when, I mean, there was a point where I was growing up where like Gerald Schuler owned Enochian magic. Like that was Enochian magic to me, like period. And, I still like the Schuler stuff, but it's not, it's not the same as the Golden Dawn. The Golden Dawn is not the same as what Dee wrote, and
right,
so it's a lot different.
I don't know. I just like thinking about all this back then too. When I was around 16, there was a pack of friends that, now that we're all driving, we were doing things that were just insane. But one of the kids, he had access to some old county map that had all these old cemeteries marked on it that no one had ever heard about. So we would smoke weed and go looking for it with girls tagged along and shit on a weekend. But about that point in my life, I always had the Satanic Bible in my back pocket by Anton LaVey. I was reading that. I was a very angry teenager, and it nothing ever hit home more than that for an angry teenage kid in that era.
That's the truth.
I'll never forget the one night, it was a summer night, standing at one of those old cemeteries in the middle of a cornfield, wondering if we're going to get noticed by the farmhouse that's about 2 miles away. And I decided to pull that out of my back pocket and do the invocation to Satan or Baphomet or whatever it's called in there towards the back of the book, if I remember right. Been a long time. And as I'm going through the invocation, people around me are getting scared. Like, don't do that. And I keep going. And then, we didn't pay attention to the weather. I'm sure the storm was coming, but you get the unmistakable cold wind of the storm's about to arrive come through as I'm reading this fucking thing. And it's just another one of those moments that there was no turning back from me.
I hear
you. No chance. The hooks were in.
I remember there's one of the invocations in that book that Anton LaVey, the Satanic Bible, is just pure genius. And it's the invocation for compassion. He's got those 3 rights: lust, curse, destruction, and compassion. And I've always thought that the compassion one is sort of brilliant because he's harnessing anger.
Yeah.
He's harnessing anger in the destruction one, but he's harnessing it in the compassion one. And when you think about when people need a helping hand, when people are broke, when people are having trouble making ends meet, and they, sure, it's great if you're invoking Jupiter and abundance and blessings and you want to build. But man, when your back is against the wall and you're just trying to put food on the table, or you're just trying to take your girl out on a Friday night or you're just trying to put gas in the car or get out from under this shit job that you're stuck in, or get out of, this town that you want to leave. Whatever it is, you're angry.
Yeah.
You're angry.
Yeah.
Or if somebody else is suffering, you're angry on their behalf. And I always thought that was a brilliant invocation.
That is nice. Yeah.
And, talk about cargo culting Magick. Like his treatment of the Enochian calls is purely... But they, the thing is, they work for people who use them. Because there's, you can take the battery out of a Prius and put it into something else. It's still a battery. It's still going to charge something,
Yep.
But yeah, I've also had that that people trying to take the book out of my hands because the storm is rolling in. I think it was some library book, and it was the Bagabe Lakabakabe Carillos. That old nugget. So that like Basque call to the devil or something. But yeah.
Fun times.
Fun times.
Fun times.
Fun times with your kids. So I'm writing for something for the kids today, basically.
Good. I hope it's a lot more helpful. You did bring up Financial Sorcery earlier in the conversation, and you do have an updated version of that book coming out soon.
I do.
You do.
I do.
So, I guess for just a quick rundown, the history of the Financial Sorcery book. Why did you write that book, and why does it need to be updated?
Sure. So, real quick, I was a stereotypical Gen X slacker, right? Dropped out of college, went around, hung out, did a lot of magic, spun my wheels in the 90s, complained about capitalism, had a hammer and sickle on my wall that I bought in Hungary, and read a lot of Marx, and hung around, and just generally was slacker, anti-materialist, like I don't care about money, and then you get a little older, right? And it's not so much fun crashing on couches, and it's not so much fun going to the same places. Like, you start getting to 30 and like the music here's a little too loud. I can't actually like the girl I'm trying to hit on can't actually hear me talk. So you get to a point, and then so I started to take money more seriously, because it's like, oh, wait, I'm not dead. I'm 30 now, and I'm still here, and I might still be here for a long ass time. So, and I'm looking around at teachers of the older generation, right? I'm looking around at some of the people that I knew that are now hitting their 50s and 60s at that point. People that wrote the books that I was reading as a kid that we've just been talking about, who were part of that anti-materialist hippie generation, and they're having to rely upon the community for medicines and for rent help and things like this. And the community isn't always there when they need it, right?
Right.
Right. And so I'm like, well, wait a minute, maybe this stuff is important. And then, of course, I had kids.
That'll change a lot.
And the kids really do it, right? Like, the kids were a line in the sand. It was kind of like, all right, you either have to drop magic and focus on a career, or make this your teaching, which I was doing at that point already. But you've got to really teach. You've got to do more than just show up at festivals and kind of hang out and answer questions. And you have to actually establish something, like not write a book every now and then, but really dig in and make this a thing. And so that's what I did. And lo and behold, started to get happier in general, because it turns out that, it's no more materialistic to have a 40 to 50 hour job that pays well and gives you benefits than it is to have a 40 to 50 hour gig that doesn't pay well, or like you're not any more materialist for making more money. And so I just started to look at the world and finances in a different way. I was always kind of had this feeling growing up that old nugget that money is the root of all evil, and that money will corrupt. But it doesn't corrupt. It turns the volume up. So if you're already corrupt, it will turn the volume up on corruption. But, And then people would kind of say, well, to be spiritual, you have to forsake the material, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we don't do this with anything else. We don't forsake sex. We don't forsake, you and I don't. I mean, if you're a monk so I
sure
really
don't want
just started to think, like, if you're going to make anti-materialism your spirituality, then do it. Shit or get off the pot. Monk,
right.
nun, wandering yogi, like, you want to live off grid and really do this? Great. I think that is authentic as hell, and more power to you. But like sitting around talking about how anti-materialist you are while still plugging away at some shit job and complaining about it every moment isn't really doing it. And I started to realize, well, if money is this monster, you can either avoid it or you can conquer it. And I do think that money is so powerful that you either need to avoid it or master it. Now, not master it like, one of the guys on Shark Tank or something like that. We're not talking about billionaires. We're talking about living a life that you're not constantly behind the 8 ball. We're talking about moving from what I call stuck, where your income is not meeting your expenses, into solvent, where it's just barely meeting your expenses, and then into solid, where it's exceeding your expenses. And then if you want to go up into the sovereign territory where you're just managing vast amounts of wealth, great. That's awesome. I don't really have much to say about that because I'm not there, but I'm well into solid. So if people are like, well, I'm broke, but I would love to, by the time my kids are old enough to go to college, I'd love to have money set aside for them to do that and have a house and have, be able to go on vacation and things like that, that I can help people with. And so Financial Sorcery was like, Strategic Sorcery was really the beginning of my financial awakening, right? And so then a few books later, I write Financial Sorcery because I'm like, I have more to say on this topic. And now Wiser is going through all my old books, and they're, they redid Protection Reversal Magic. They redid the Sorcerer's Secrets as real sorcery. And now
They've
we
gone
have
with very dark covers. Are they going to do that again? Because the first Financial Sorcery had a badass blue and white.
Oh, no.
cover.
The new Financial Sorcery has a gold cover.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No. I know Real Sorcery is a really dark cover.
Yeah.
Darker than I thought it would be after I gave the thumbs up on it. But I do like the artist Cambion Art that did the covers. But for this one, I was really like, it can't be like a demonic looking spirit. So no, the new one is a gold cover.
Nice.
And yeah, it should be fantastic.
Financial Sorcery had some of the coolest looking glyphs ever.
And the viral marketing glyph is right on the cover.
And it's right over here on the table. Hold on. Up until COVID hit, I was doing like tarot parties and stuff like that and having a grand old time. But this was my business card that I kept with me at all times.
Oh, fantastic! Viral marketing, yeah.
I don't even remember what they all are.
Yeah, it's pure luck. I love it.
Yeah, that's the back of the card.
Oh, that's fantastic. That is fantastic. The viral marketing glyph has worked its way. There are theater troupes in Hungary that had that as part of their logo. There are a couple companies that worked it into their logo. Those glyphs and the planetary seals, Matt Brownlee and I worked really, really hard on those. He worked really hard on those because he would keep coming up like with the planetary ones, and I'd be like, nope, that's not it. Let's start over. And I'd do the invocation, and he'd try to really capture it. But these are definitely like old school. They're not sigils that are made from letters or anything like that. This is the magic as perceived by an artist sorcerer and laid out, in a usable way. And I love all those sigils, and
I like them. I like them a lot.
So yeah, the new cover of Financial Sorcery is gold. We went from blue to gold. Which then, once he showed me that, I then went back and threw on another appendix for Helios onto the book. So there's much more new material in this one than in the other updated books. So in the other updated books, basically there was a new introduction and then a section at the end of each chapter. Basically, here it is 15, 20 years later. Right? Or 12 years later. In this one, there's an additional chapter as well. And then there's a couple additional appendixes, and there's the commentary of this is what I wrote then. This is how I think now. And this is how the game has changed. Because, of course, with Financial Sorcery, it's a very different world now. At the time that it was written 12 years ago, there were not very many jobs, and it was taking people months and months and months to find jobs. And basically any job that was posted could be filled. Like, companies had hundreds and hundreds of applicants. Now it's exactly the opposite. There's not enough people to fill jobs in general, and the problems are different. So I had to make some commentary there, but the principles are the same. The basic principles of Financial Sorcery always remain the same. The methods have to be switched up, but the principles are similar.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the updates. Life will have peaks and valleys, right? And I had to start my life over in some regards a couple of years ago, and boy, does that change your finances.
Yeah. Yes, it does.
And I'm always up for another dose of good financial sorcery. I'm looking forward to seeing what you've added to it. It should be interesting. Well, I think we're getting close to a good spot to move over to the Patreon portion. Before we do, is there anything that you wanted to get into? Anything I didn't bring up?
These people have heard enough out of me. StrategicSorcery.net. Sorcery of Hekate is starting up on Halloween. First 30 Days of Magic is also starting up on Halloween. You can do one, you can do both. A lot of people, would benefit from doing both. And that's it.
That's it.
At some point later this year, before the end of the year, Black School of St. Cyprian will be starting up again. And
nice.
Then I'll have all new shenanigans for next year for people.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks again for being here. It's been great catching up and having this conversation.
All right. I'll get in my car and head over to the Patreon.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. And if you enjoyed this episode, please do share it among your networks with your friends, family, and everybody. We're going to head over to Patreon, where normally, there's a certain round of questions I like to ask. Jason's a regular appearance on the show. So the plan is to have a more personal conversation about Halloween, personal experiences from youth to present, and the things in between. So if it sounds good to you, I'd love to have you come join the membership, be part of the family. If you can do that, it would be pretty easy. You go to patreon.com/weirdwebradio or go to weirdwebradio.com and click join the membership. Okay, everybody, stay weird out there. And now it's bonus audio time. Jason Miller. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
The audio everybody heard, if they listened to the outro, just said, I'm going to ask you about what famous person's resting place you most like to visit. I asked you that once a long, long time ago. So I do want to ask you, since this is kind of Halloween themed, what witch or magician or occultist grave would you most like to visit? And what would you ask them if you could raise them for one question?
Ooh. Man.
That's a fun one, right?
Oh, that is a fun one.
Do you want to hear how they just answered that question? What famous person's resting place would you most like to visit? That and many others, including what they think about the afterlife, what they may or may not do in cemeteries, what are their traditions, magical practices that have to do with the dead, folklore that surrounds their homes, and so much more, available for only $5. $5 a month. Even if I make more than one episode in a month, it's still just $5 a month at patreon.com/weirdwebradio or go to weirdwebradio.com and click join the membership. You can find me on Instagram at weirdwebradio. You can find me on Facebook as Weird Web Radio, or come join the new, fun and exciting Weird Web Radio Facebook group. Thank you again for being here. Stay weird out there, my friends.